Hello everyone, you're now with me, Ruben Gomez, for the Nightline. Year 2021 is a sad moment for Fang Wei-ping, where he had to continue his life without his wife and two children. He lost his wife, Lorna Ting, with two of his children, Alvin Pang and Wallace Pang, during the Trisor Ferry Tragedy. The three were among 9 people who perished after the vehicle they were in plunged into Sungai Batang Lupa.
When he was met by reporter, he looks calm, but no one knows how he feels inside. Recalling his last conversation with them, Fang said Alvin, who is his first child, will stay with him in Cebu, while his wife Lorna and his youngest son Wallace will stay in Kuching with their family member. However, Alvin changed his mind, stated his desire to accompany his mother to send his cousin to Mahat Tafis in Kuching.
Sama saya anak dua lah. Cuma yang cakap satu ikut mada pergi. Biasa itu tinggal sama saya lah. Macam ada upuan kan.
Macam dia dua.
Kalau tinggal saya satu rumah sama ada ya. Macam kesan saya tinggal satu orang.
Tiba-tiba.
Macam.
Yang anak sulung cakap kasih tahu sama Encik Fang macam mana dia mau pergi.
Dia cakap, saya ada ngajar cakap, mak kamu selalu bawa itu kecil pergi tinggal dia di rumah ini macam kamu lain kali tua saya tidak mau inang kamu. Dia macam bukan yang cakap main-main.
Alvin never thought that was his last conversation with his wife and children before receiving a phone call from his brother-in-law, Ting Hing Ping, regarding the accident. Upon receiving the call of the tragedy, Fang rushed to Sri Aman Hospital, which located about 230 kilometers from Cebu.
Memang saya pergi jangan tunggu Pak.
Teruslah.
Kalau tidak saya tinggal di rumah buat apa? Saya pakai kereta saya terus. Saya cakap ini macam dia kasih tahu saya nanti mau pergi hospital Siamang. Lagi bagus saya tunggu sana loh. Kalau tempat saya tidak tahu macam mana pergi cari. Saya tunggu sana.
The remains of 3 victims involved in the Trisor Ferry Jetty tragedy is now at the Cebu mortuary. The remains will be temporarily placed at the mortuary house to allow relatives to pay their last respects before being taken to the Nirvana Memorial Park in Cebu for cremation on Tuesday.
Using shortcut to Kuching, that was the last words of Siti Aisyah Abdullah to her brother Ting Hing Ping before the Trisor Ferry tragedy happened on Friday.
According to Hing Ping, his sister Siti Aisyah was not confident to drive and decided to switch seat with their sister Lorna. However, who would have thought it was a sad day?
Saya kakak, kami 3 orang ada beradik kan. Saya kakak yang tahu jalan itu, jalan shortcut tu, jalan ferry, ikut ferry tu. Saya tidak tahu, saya sudah langsung pergi Kuching. Lepas tu dia telefon, dia cakap, kenapa kamu langsung saja pergi lurus? Saya cakap, iyalah langsung pergi lurus pergi Kuching. Jalan besar tu kan. Dia cakap, sebelah sini ada jalan shortcut dekat lagi. Saya cakap, saya tidak tahu jalan. Dia tahu jalan. Lepas tu dia cakap, kamu ikut belakang saya lah. Dia cakap, okey ikut. Lepas tu mula-mula saya kakak drive. Saya kakak cakap dia tidak pandai turun tu ferry tu. Dia takut dia tidak pandai turun. Lepas tu saya ada cakap, dia pakai tangan ini macam lah. Saya pandai nanti saya yang bawa, saya ada cakap ini macam.
Hing Ping said he was already on the ferry, but the vehicle driven by Lorna with Siti Aisyah was still on the other side of the river. He even witnessed the car fell into the river. He decided to dive into the river to save them, but was stopped by the ferry operator.
Lepas tu ferry saya terus patah balik lah. Kurang lebih dalam 60 meter ni macam saya mau terjun. Lepas tu orang yang kerja di ferry sana, dia orang tangkap lah. Dia tidak suruh lah. Dia tak suruh saya pergi lah. Dia cakap pasti jauh lah. Lepas tu dia sudah patah balik kurang lebih belasan kilometer lah. Saya terjun terus pergi cari lah. Tapi tak jumpa lah. Macam tidak dapat lah sebab nafas saya tidak kuat jugalah. Tapi kaki saya ada kena sentuh kereta dia. Kena sentuh kereta dia. Lepas tu dia air pasang-pasang saja, saya macam saya naik lagi. Saya tarik nafas, rehat dulu sekejap, saya turun lagi, turun naik lah. Carilah.
After the tragic tragedy, ferry users are told to adhere to the standard operating procedures (SOP) during the service.
According to the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dato' Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, this is to ensure the safety of others, hence avoiding an accident and unwanted occurrences. Ferry users are told to remain calm and to minimize traffic whenever on boarding the ramp, besides obeying the safety rules. Abdul Karim expresses his condolences to the next-kin of the deceased family and hopes that they remain strong and patient in overcoming grief.
Meanwhile, Housing and Local Government Minister Zuraida Kamaruddin has expressed her condolences to the family members of the victims who were killed in the Trisol Ferry Jetty tragedy. Zuraida offered her prayers and consolement for the family to endure during this sorrowful time.
Zuraida believes that a thorough investigation by the relevant authorities to prevent such accident from occurring and enhance the safety features of the ferries. In the 3:30 p.m. incident yesterday, a four-wheel drive vehicle was said to have lost control before plunging into Sungai Batang Lupar at the jetty, killing all 9 people on board, including a 4-month-old infant.
An investigation is ongoing to determine why the driver lost control of a four-wheel drive vehicle, causing it to plunge into the Batang Lupar River on Friday.
Keadaan ini masih dalam proses lah. Di pihak timnya.
The case is now at the final stage of the investigation by the Investigative and Traffic Enforcement in IPD Sri Aman. He added that all 9 victims were unconscious when they were brought out from the vehicle by public members. The 9 deceased comprised 5 males and 4 females, 2 of whom were adults, while the rest were children aged from 4 months to 16 years old.
Statistics by the Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department Sarawak reveals the tragedy Trisol Ferry is the most tragic in Sarawak since 2012 till the first day of 2021. Its director, Kiruddin Rahman, said that based on a statistic, only 1 case involving loss of life recorded during the period from 2012 to 31st December 2020 in Sarawak.
1 case is nowhere to be found out of the 4 ferry accidents that happened in the state. The first death of the accident happened was on March 26, 2016, when a 4-wheel vehicle plunged into the river of Muara Tuang Samarahan Ferry. 5 incidents recorded from 2012 to January 2nd involving 10 deaths with nowhere to be found. According to the legislation, if a victim have not been found for 7 years, he or she is considered deceased.
Materials for the constructions of roads and bridges in the state are sufficient. Deputy Chief Minister Tan Sri Dr. James Jemut Masing stated that the supply centre is now located in Sebuyau.
The quarry in Sebuyau is said to be the best construction supply centre since it houses a total of 16 million ton metrics of granite stone.
So the government is assured that we have enough material to build our road and bridges throughout Sarawak for the next 20 years. That is very important.
The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, welcomes the recommendations that the Keamatan and Gawai Harvest Festivals be included as a major festival in the Cuti-Cuti Malaysia itinerary following feedback received from the public.
The move will encourage people to visit both Sarawak and Sabah.
Kita memang terbuka, mempunyai sikap terbuka untuk menjemput orang ramai untuk datang ke Sarawak, datang ke Sabah kalau cuti gawai dan juga cuti keamasan. Sebab itu saya juga sarankan dan minta supaya pihak Tourism Malaysia atau pelancongan Malaysia untuk mengambil kira ini semua sebagai satu perspektif daripada perspektif positif supaya kita dapat menambahkan lagi varieties kepelbagaian dalam negara kita melalui kita punya cuti-cuti.
Although Keamatan and Gawai are public holidays for Sabah and Sarawak, it is also important for people of other states to know and understand the culture and traditions behind these 2 festivals.
Lihat dari segi cuti yang dimasuk di situ adalah cuti untuk persekutuan, cuti-cuti di bawah persekutuan. Dan untuk Keamatan dan juga Gawai, ianya harusnya masuk di bawah cuti negeri. kerana cuti persekutuan adalah untuk cuti yang panjang, saya dimaklumkan cuti yang panjang, dan banyak negeri yang akan memanfaatkan cuti-cuti di bawah negeri persekutuan.
Apart from contributing to tourism product, both festivals can also be celebrated in other states on a national level.
Kalau dulu masa saya menjadi menteri di Jabatan Perdana Menteri dahulu, memang ianya menjadi satu perbincangan kami untuk gawai di mana pada tahun ini, keamatan di mana dari segi sambutan secara nasionalnya. Memang tahun-tahun yang lalu memang ada sambutan Hari Gawai dan juga sambutan keamatan dibuat di negeri lain juga. Dia bukan hanya di negeri Sabah dan Sarawak saja, tetapi di negeri-negeri lain supaya orang lain boleh menikmatinya, dan ia menjadi satu produk pelancongan juga. Tapi mungkin pada tahun ini ianya belum lagi kita bincangkan dalam kabinet di mana ianya akan diadakan, cuma ianya dimasuk dalam kalender cuti-cuti.
Meanwhile, Malaysian Youth Parliament member Spansky Stephen is perplexed at the absence of harvest festivals in Sarawak and Sabah in the tourism calendar.
Dan kita mengharapkan pihak-pihak yang berkenaan untuk kaji baliklah kalender ini, dan harap perkara ini dapat diselesaikan dengan segera.
Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation Mosti, Khairi Jamaluddin, guarantees the safety of vaccine purchased by Malaysia. It has gone through clinical trials of more than hundreds of thousands of people.
He added when the vaccine arrives in Malaysia in February 2021, it does not need to be tested anymore. The development of vaccine should provide confidence to the people in terms of its effectiveness. Therefore, he stressed that Malaysians should not be worried as the vaccine has already been tested. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, in his New Year message, gave assurance that the government will ensure that the vaccine procured is effective, safe and sufficient for 80% of the population.
Malaysia recorded 1,704 new positive COVID-19 cases. This brings the total number in Malaysia at 119,077 cases. However, there were 11 more deaths recorded, bringing the country's death toll to 494.
Among the total number of deaths, 10 were local citizens and the remaining is foreigner. Selangor reported the highest number of cases, followed by Sabah and Johor. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded 10 new positive COVID-19 cases, which consists of 8 locally transmitted and 2 imported cases. State Disaster Management Committee in a statement said the State Health Department has identified a new cluster dubbed as the Tutong cluster in Kuching. The index case for this cluster was detected on January 1st of symptomatic individuals at a private hospital in Kuching. The number of positive cases involving this cluster to date is 5 individuals.
United Malay's national organisation AMNO urged GE15 to be hastened. This is to ensure the restorations of people's mandate.
According to AMNO's president, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, many other countries held election during the pandemic by complying with the standard operating procedures. He added AMNO is determined to take back the seat that was won in every parliament and state legislative assembly in GE14.
Meanwhile, Barisan Nasional Treasurer General Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein hinted that the 15th general election or GE15 will happen in the near future.
According to him, the last AMNO divisional meetings throughout the country are being held before going into GE15 battlefield. He stressed losing is not an option, hence all parties must cooperate to ensure a success.
Taska Genius Perpaduan in Sarawak is scheduled to operate on January 4th, 2021. Minister of National Unity Halimah Muhammad Sadiq stated the date of opening the Taska is in accordance with other nursery schools set by the Ministry of Education.
The opening of Taska Genius Perpaduan hopes to assist working parents in providing childcare solution. She reminded parents that the children must adhere to the stipulated standard operating procedures (SOPs) set by the management in line with the new normal hygiene practices. The ministry ensures that all the Taska Genius obey the post-movement control order guidelines in order to curb the spread of COVID-19. Furthermore, the guidelines act as a preventive measure set by the Ministry of Health Malaysia (MOH) and Malaysia National Security Council (MKN).
A cold snap greeted Malaysians overnight with downpours in the most part of country, overcast skies and mist in some places. A series of heavy rainfalls are expected to occur mainly in Sarawak, Sabah and in the east coast states of the peninsula.
Temperatures across the Klang Valley dropped to as low as 23 degrees Celsius. It is the lowest in months as the country is currently gripped by cold weather due to the northeast monsoon season, commonly known as the winter monsoon. According to the Malaysian Meteorological Department, the cold and rainy monsoon season is expected to continue until March this year. The department also warned that continuous heavy rainfall for several days can result in floods in low-lying and flood-prone areas. It added the risk of flooding may be worsened if heavy rainfall coincides with high tide.
Sarawak Energy is encouraging its user to go digital. Electronic electricity billing or e-bill by Sarawak Energy commences this January.
This initiative is in line with the Sarawak's post-COVID-19 economic recovery pillar in promoting digitalization and environmental sustainability. According to Chief Executive Officer Lau Kim Sui, customers who sign up for Sarawak Energy e-bill starting from 1st January to 31st December 2021 shall receive a RM2 rebate in their monthly electricity bills for a period of 12 months. He further added the customers will no longer receive physical bills and will receive their monthly e-bill via their registered email address.
The Youth and Sports Ministry, TVS, will implement several additional measures to ensure the compliance of the Standard Operating Procedures (SOP) for the fifth phase opening of sports and recreational sector.
Ministry in a statement announced that sports championship or tournament organizers require prior approval from the ministry through the sports commissioner before the event can be held. The ministry also stressed that any participant or event personnel for team sports and combat sports from Conditional Movement Control Order (CMCO) areas are required to undergo an RTK antigen swab test 3 days before the event begins in a Recovery Movement Control Order area. In addition, the numbers of spectators allowed to sports event is limited to 10% of the venue's seating capacity, which is 4,000 people, and subject to changes announced by the government. Youth and Sports Minister Datuk Sri Rizal Merican Naina Merican previously mentioned that the implementation of Phase 5, which is supporters in stadiums on a small scale, would be implemented and is subjected to the current situation of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, that's conclude for the Nightline for today. Remember, just a friendly reminder to all of you who are watching this today, the war on COVID-19 has not ended yet. Always comply to the SOP, adhere to the SOP, no matter where you go with your family members or anywhere you having your lunch or gathering with. And always practice physical distancing, wear your mask everywhere you go, and always ready hand sanitizer. If you touch any object, you don't have any hand sanitizer, it's fine. Just go to the toilet, have to wash your hands anytime once you touch any object. So I'm Ruben Gomez for the Nightline, anytime, anywhere. Thank you.